now we are starting with the presentation of Mr. Adam Doyle about University of East London. So he'll be telling us about more opportunities available in London, how does the system works, what are the qualifications which are required to get into University of East London, and over to him now.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. I'll just allow my colleague from UCD, thank you so much for those very kind words as well. To log off, I will just bring my presentation up here. Ladies and gentlemen, I will stand here because I don't want to jump, that's quite a bit of a big jump. But my name is Adam Doyle. I'm the head of Law and Criminology at the University of East London. It's a great pleasure speaking to everybody earlier as part of the panel, and it's a particular pleasure to be back in Bangalore. I've been at various INBA events in previous years, and it's a previous student who was at an INBA event in Bangalore who is currently taking her LLM with us, and as part of her dissertation, because of the hard work she has done throughout the year, is actually doing her dissertation whilst working at the United Nations in New York. So there are a wide range of opportunities available through there, so it's something which makes me very pleased to be back in Bangalore to talk about these opportunities with you. So I want to do a bit of an introduction from my program leader. There are a range of programs within the Department of Law and Criminology, and there are 3 LLM programs run by Barry Collins, and he really does talk very strongly about what we stand for as an institution. What we want to look at, and what UEL has had a strong history of doing, is create an intellectually challenging environment that is supportive for our students. We run international LLM programs. London is an international city. As a consequence of which, we want to make sure you have opportunities, if you decide to study with us, to maximize your ambitions and be able to get what you aspire to do. So with this board in mind, we would like our students always to become part of an active learning community. As I said earlier with regard to the presentations of the panel, it's not a hierarchy between professors and students, especially when it becomes postgraduate study. Instead, what we're looking at is being part of a community learning together, because it's not about knowledge and facts by itself. It's looking at relevancy and the debate to make sure that the knowledge is being used in the correct way. The art of the debate is the key part of what a good lawyer does. And if law is reflective of the society which it's based in, then obviously that society must be fully considered and argued about to make sure what the rules are appropriate and just. So Barry's email address is b.collins@uel.ac.uk. I know a large number of students have already given me their contact details, and I'm very grateful for that. What will happen is our agent Pavel will be in touch probably Tuesday or Wednesday of next week when I get back to the UK. So a bit of a history of the LLM at UEL. Law programs have been taught at the University of East London for over 40 years. They've always had a consistent ambition: international in focus, empowering of the student body, breaking down barriers, making a change for society at large. We really have a long history of having a focus of not purely looking inside the UK, but looking at the bigger picture around the world. Indeed, the founder of our law school, Edwin Lichtenstein, was an anti-apartheid campaigner in South Africa, a lawyer there who decided he wanted to set up a law school in the UK with a university with the ambition of breaking down barriers and fostering greater understanding. LLM modules are all taught by active research-intensive staff or by leading practitioners who are experts in their field. So it is seen as a program where our most senior academics are able to get involved with the debate and make sure the law is current when we talk about it, but also is reflective of their own research and where they think the law is going to go. If law is reflective of society and society consistently evolves, you need to make sure you're seeing where things need to change if we're going to meet the needs of an increasingly globalized and increasingly sophisticated society. Classes take place over 3 semesters on the LLM program. The first 2 semesters have classes that take place in the evening. All of our classes and dissertation supervision takes place at our new custom-built law school campus in Stratford in East London. Stratford is 12 minutes on the tube from central London, so we are a proper London institution. Lots of places use London in their name. They are actually miles upon miles away. We are not. If anybody wants to go to the financial district of Canary Wharf, it's not too far from where I live. I live locally to the university, as do many of the academics. That is only 3 stops on the tube from where we are based. It is that close. We are a proper London institution. The classes take place in the evenings. So if you want to work whilst you're studying on your LLM, your visa will entitle you to do this. You'll be able to work during the day, and your classes take place from 6 to 9 p.m. in the evening. You have 2 evenings of classes per semester each week. So each week is a 12-week semester, 2 evenings of classes per week in one semester, and your second semester will be doing other modules with 2 evenings of classes in that semester itself. So the fact is, it's evening-based. It's also useful for students because many of our domestic students are already practitioners. It's a great chance to network with practicing lawyers to see what opportunities may exist with regard to legal practice in the UK. The student body, by the very nature and ethos of the university, is incredibly diverse. Oh, by the way, all the photos, they're not models. You've seen Barry already. These are actual genuine lecturers and students in our student body. So just make sure. We're just saying exactly what UEL's like. We're very proud of our domestic and international mix of our students. Students in our Law and Criminology department come from over 40 different countries last year. Sometimes it's even more. But the fact is, it's always a very international, very diverse, but also very supportive and collegial society. Remember, you're in a community of learning. We look to support our international students. We want you to be fully engaged and part of our body. Students also come from a wide range of backgrounds. Most students from INBA had already done a law degree, but because the nature of our degrees includes things like war and human rights in conflict and modules like that, you also get a lot of students who might be professionals who work for NGOs. They might work in government, for government bodies. They might be social scientists. You get a chance to see where law actually expands out for other career opportunities beyond legal practice as well. What I would say is consistent across our student body is a determination and dedication to make positive change for the society in which they live. It might be just a minor thing because they want to go out and fight pro bono cases. It might be something big because they work for something like the UN and therefore they want to actually make a change globally. But there's something consistent across our body. Our students want to make a difference. So this, if you do want to make a difference, and that sort of thing really is something that really drives you, this is the institution for you, and there's fantastic opportunities to network and to see how this ambition can be realized. It is all research active teaching. In the most recent Research Excellence Framework for the UK, every 7 years, so 2021 is our next one, our research gets judged to see if it's of national or international significance. 99% of our research was judged as being of international quality. So we are a research-intensive school as well as a teaching-intensive school. Our LLM is research active. As I said earlier, you'll be taught by the most senior academics in the faculty. They will be bringing their expertise directly into the classroom. It won't be just a big name giving the grandstand lecture and then somebody else teaching the seminars. These guys will be teaching you every single aspect of that particular module. So the research centres we have particular focus on are the Centre on Human Rights in Conflict, and the other one is the Centre for Islamic Finance Law and Communities. We also have 2 criminology centres that we encourage our law students to get involved in. Since we're in Bangalore, the first one that's important is our cybercrime centre. We have lots of cyber criminological expertise. Professor Julia Davidson, who's one of our leading criminologists, is the advisor to the UK government on online crime. We also have a lady called Professor Mary Aiken, who's an international professor. She's based around the world. She's one of our visiting professors. She's so famous that CSI Cyber was written about her. So we have some world-ranking experts in other parts of the department, like criminology as well. But both the law centres are active, and we ask our students, we really encourage our students to get involved in what the centres do. We have global experts coming in to speak to our academic and student body, our community of learning, on a weekly basis. So it's not just a case about attending the bare bones classes. There's a wide range of opportunities out there. That's how the student from Bangalore last year got her placement doing her dissertation at the UN. She went to these sessions and actually met people and said, this is what I'm interested in doing, and then she got the opportunity. It really is something that's possible to do when you're actually studying. Take advantage of the wide range of things. It's not purely about the classes themselves. The learning resources are online, largely, but we also have a library. Our library is a 5-minute walk from the USS campus. That's a photo of it. That actually is our library. It's not a random Shutterstock one we found somewhere. That's the library in Stratford. And it is open during the term time 24/7. Some students want to study at 3 o'clock in the morning. I admire them. I'm jealous because I can't do that. I have to sleep sometimes. But actually, the fact is there's a wide variety of learning spaces open to meet your learning needs. In addition, because accommodation is also important, there are 2 types of accommodation. There are student dorms, which are 2 years old, which are very, very nice indeed, which are a 3-minute walk from our law school. If you want something that's really, really secure, so those are secure themselves, but it's a building in central London. If you fancy something that's even more secure in a campus environment, we also have student dorms on our Docklands campus, and there's a free bus that goes between the campuses several times a day. So we also have that facility as well, if that's something you're particularly interested in taking a look at. But the fact is you get access to our library 24/7 during term time. On top of that, students also get access to the largest law library in the UK, the Institute of Advanced Legal Studies, based up at Russell Square. But it's not only about the study, it's not even about the sessions, the talks on top. Lawyers who want to make a difference will want to get involved in making a difference in reality to communities. Our law clinic was shortlisted for a national award for the work it does with vulnerable adults with Romford to help them fight cases which they might not be able to afford a lawyer to go to. The discussions this morning talked about pro bono. We have a large, successful law clinic, and we are, for 2019, launching a mediation hub for work-based mediation as well. Those facilities are available for all of our LLM students to get involved in. We encourage you to get involved in them. And the opportunity you take from there are also further networking opportunities. It's something that makes you stand out as part of your application. It's a chance to make a real difference to the local community. Unfortunately, due to the current nature of legal aid in the United Kingdom, we, in our university, are the only face-to-face law centre for our particular part of London. So not only is it a nice thing for students to get involved in, they actually just deliver a fundamental piece of work which supports access to justice for all walks of society in our part of London. Our students generally do make a difference. And it's something which, under the supervision of qualified lawyers, we encourage all of our students to get involved in. If you want to be a practitioner in the UK afterwards, it's that sort of work, it's that sort of involvement that could be the difference between getting a yes or a no to your job application. This stuff really is really fundamental. And linked into that, actually, when I talk about the LLM programs, I don't have much detail on this because it's going to be validated next Tuesday. I'm not allowed to talk about it in much detail until the program is validated. It should have been validated on Thursday, but unfortunately I was in, fortunately and unfortunately I was in Delhi talking about the program. It will be validated when I arrive back in the UK on Tuesday morning when I'm there to talk about it. We have a new LLM program. It's the first of its type in the UK, a 2-year program, the second year of which is a 10-month work placement in a law firm. Guaranteed. Part of the program itself. We are limited to only 30 places for that program in September 2019 and January 2020. But in your second year, you'll be doing work in a law firm if you are on that program, making a fundamental difference for people for 2 or 3 days a week. It's something that's very, very exciting. I can't really talk about it more until next Tuesday, but if you haven't had the chance to do so already, please give me your name and email address when I get back to my booth, and I'll make sure that Pavel gets in touch with you so he can talk to you about the nature of that program itself. But otherwise, we have the general LLM program, and we also have the Energy and Natural Resources LLM. So I'll talk about those briefly. The general LLM program is internationally focused. It is a program which has a range of specialist options if you choose the right combination of modules, but otherwise there's a great deal of flexibility in it. As well as the dissertation in your third year, the only core module you do have to study is international law, problems, and process, which is a mixture of private and public international law. Otherwise, what else you do is you choose 3 modules from a range of options. And these are the lists which we're definitely running for September 2019. These might be increased upon, depends upon need, depends upon expertise. But those are the modules which we are running for September 2019. If you are a student in your 2nd, 3rd, or 4th year, please keep in touch with us, see what we're doing, because you might find additional modules are being added as we develop our programs further. But if you want to specialize into a particular area, by choosing additional core modules on top, you can get your LLM a specific title. So one of those is LLM Transitional Justice, which means you have to do war and human rights as well as international law, problems and process. But then you can choose 2 optional modules as you want. You also have to make sure your dissertation relates to your core modules as well. Another option could be international law and legal practice. Those modules are taught, includes the module of Advocacy, Interventions and Practice. This is taught by Jacqueline Analu, one of our practitioners who's also a UK advisor on human rights. She advises the UK government directly on human rights issues. And then you get to choose optional modules as well. The third option is human rights advocacy, where you'd have to do a core module of international human rights. This is taught by Professor Siraj Seth, who, as well as being a world-leading academic, is also an advisor to both the United Nations and the World Bank on international human rights issues. And then you could choose your optional modules on top from that. Or the other one is going to be business and finance, where you have to do international law and business, taught by Professor Kofi Kafur, who is a world expert on law developing nations as well. And you also have to do regulation of financial markets, taught by Dr. Iwa Salame. And Iwa is well known in India because she's frequently a contributor to the Times of India on things such as Bitcoin and blockchain. And you have to do an optional module on top. In other words, there's a wide range of options, but if you choose the right combination, you can make your program a specialist program in its nature. The other option is the LLM in Energy and Natural Resources. The core modules there are, in the first semester, you have to do oil, gas, law and policy. The second semester, you have to do regulation and governance of energy. And then you have a range of other optional modules, which can include potentially additional ones from our business programs as well, such as strategy, leadership, and change management in international business. So there's potentially an additional range of modules you can get involved with there as well. All of this stuff will be available online. If you give me your contact details, I'll make sure these slides are sent to you. They've also been left with INBA, so they can also have those for a presentation and left on their website on top. A bit of information about the courses. So the minimum entry requirements are second-class honours. I appreciate that can mean many different things, and trying to understand GPAs across institutions can be complicated. What we do instead, because we look at the student as a whole, it's not purely the academics, if you are interested in applying, what we will take a look at is also your abilities and what you've done in outside your studies as well. We take a very look at the human being as a whole to see if that's the right sort of course for you. It doesn't have to be a law degree, as I said beforehand. It could be a social sciences or humanities subject instead. Many of our experts come from NGOs and work there. And the intakes are in both September 19 and January 2020. We don't normally offer scholarships because we have more applicants than places, but because of our connections to INBA, there's an exclusive scholarship for September 19 and January 20 for students who have attended the INBA fairs. That is £1,000 off the fees, making the fees for the one-year LLM £12,260. The placement year on top is somewhere in the region of £5,000. But bear in mind that you have the chance, because it's only 3 days a week, to work as well. You should be able to earn off that money, probably whilst you're working at the same time as doing the placement in your second year. The other thing to bear in mind is the IELTS requirement, and this is a fixed one, is 6.5. with a 6 minimum in each component. So the key points to take a look from this: it is an international LLM, it is internationally relevant, taught by world-leading experts, and has international relevance and impact. The location of the in central London and the timing of the classes may facilitate you working whilst you're studying. There's also the specialist scholarship, but also the placement if you're interested in that as well. I appreciate you've had many, many presentations, and there's more coming on with other fantastic universities like Kutch. I appreciate I've been speaking for quite some time, but my contact details are available going to the booth, a.doyle@uel.ac.uk, or otherwise I have a card here if somebody wants to collect one straight afterwards. Thank you very much for listening. Do you have any questions? Nobody's got any questions? Right. Well, thank you very much indeed. Madam. Which are available within the university and how to take advantage of them. You have the chance to become part of the Law and Criminology Society as soon as you start. They arrange a series of talks with various speakers straight away. The other thing as well is that you'll have various talks advertised across the year on your Moodle pages with your online materials and resources. Talk to your lecturers about what you want to do. You'll have a personal tutor who will be assigned to you. We only take small numbers of students. We take maximum of 55 in September and 20 in January, so we get to know all of our students very, very well indeed. It means we get a chance to see what you want to do and try and focus upon that and take things forward. So when we get to, they'll direct you to the relevant talks that are taking place with people. They'll introduce you to the speakers after the talks are taken place. You'll get the chance to actually, they'll talk about job opportunities and where to apply, things like that, and they'll support your applications as well. So there's a wide range of things taking place in there. That's from the staff. The Student Society also does similar things like that as well. So there's quite a lot going on. Any other questions? Well, thank you very much indeed. It's been a great pleasure to meet everybody, and hopefully see some of you next year.